So it's actually my 35th birthday, and that's why I'm out here having this session. And I tell you, all of the sweat hits different now that I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30.
We're rolling. Welcome to
Roll, Minnesota.
You're watching Roll, Minnesota.
You're watching Roll, Minnesota.
Minnesota seal of approval.
Yeah, we're watching Roll, Minnesota. Subscribe.
Hey everybody, what's up from Roll, Minnesota, your state of skate. Butch Lehman out here at the HQ, and today we're talking about a really serious topic when it comes to inline skating, and that's fear. Now, if you've been rollerblading for a while, you know all about fear, but that's what this sport is all about. It's about harnessing that fear, controlling fear, and ultimately conquering fear. And that's the sense of accomplishment we get when we actually do something that we perceived as impossible or something that was perceived as dangerous. But there's a lot of things in this sport that are legitimately scary, that deserve to be feared, whether it's a massive gap, a big rail, a new trick, something with a dangerous approach or a dangerous landing. That element of danger is our body's way of communicating to us that maybe we should think about this more carefully. Now, you guys are probably in this situation before as well, where you learn how to flip that switch in your brain to turn the fear off, but then also to turn it back on. That's ultimately what skating is. It's a threat assessment. It's this cost-benefit analysis of whether or not the risk that we bring into a trick is worth the potential reward of overcoming that risk. And that's the beautiful thing about skating, is I live for that feeling, and I know a lot of you do as well. As I'm getting into my older age, though, there is a very legitimate fear, and I see that the sense of fear and the sense of danger is morphing a bit. It's not that I'm afraid of tricks that I wasn't afraid of before. If anything, I find myself more willing to do things that previously I thought were scary or dangerous, just because I have all that extra experience as a skater. You know, I know my limits, I know my boundaries, I know what my body's capable of. But rather, the fear has become more psychological rather than physical. And this is a little bit concerning to me. I'm about to turn 35, and I feel my body slowing down, my response time being slower, my reaction time being slower. And that's problematic because the thing that I fear the most as an inline skater is regression. And you know, that's something I think a lot of people watching this video right now are probably aware of and sympathetic to, is that as we age, our body becomes less responsive. There's this micro delay in processing of tricks happening in the brain, but then being fulfilled by our extremities. And that's something I find really frustrating, that I've been struggling with a lot in the last couple of years. And it's been more pronounced this year than ever before, is I have tricks that have previously been easier for me to do. And although I can still do them, it takes a lot more tries, a lot more energy, and a lot more focus. And that's ultimately what I fear the most, is regression. Now, this raises an interesting question. That's, how do we respond to this fear? Now, I think there's a lot of different ways we could respond, and we see a lot of people retreat from it. They find refuge in some alternative hobby, finding something else where they can still find that sense of creative expression and self-fulfillment. And, you know, that is one option, but I think for a lot of us that are here, skating means a lot more to us than that. So it's become more of an adaptation. How do we adapt this fear and this changing physicality for ourselves into a way to still be involved in the sport and have some longevity, especially as we cross over those mid-30s and into the 40s and beyond. And it's not all bad. I mean, as you get older, you do develop a sense of perspective, there's mental maturity, there's sort of an emotional acceptance of who you are and your place in the world with other people. And I'm grateful for all of that, but that is something that I fear. And I think that fear is legitimate.
Let's go,
Let's go, Butch! Come on, Butch!
Who gets some product donated by Havoc Clothing and Con Artist Apparel will be Butch Lehman.
Butch Lehman, my brother. He's free. He's on the Con Artist team.
Now, I don't want to sound self-aggrandizing in any way, shape, or form. I certainly have not covered all of the territory that there is to cover in action sports, and especially not in inline skating. There are so many different professionals, amateurs, and just average Joes out there that are significantly better than me at skating. But that's the great thing about this sport, is this sport isn't about who's better one-on-one. It's not a competition of comparison, and comparison is the killer of all joy. That's something that I've heard stated in a number of places. But rather, this sport is about competition with oneself, surpassing your expectations, being the best iteration of yourself. And ultimately, that's life. That's what we're all here for, is to become that best version of ourselves. And it's through those challenges, those trials and tribulations, that we're able to stretch ourselves and grow as a person. You want to be that best version. That's what self-efficacy is, or self-actualization is, to actualize that best idealized version of yourself. And that's one of the things that I've loved about skating. Over all the years that I've done it, we're going on over 2 decades now, is it has always pushed me to be the best version of myself on the skates. But those lessons have been universally transferable to every other aspect of life to become the best person that I can be through all of my interactions with other people. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for skating. I'm grateful for you all. And I'm going to be doing this until the wheels fall off. As long as I can, I'm going to be pushing myself. And that might look a little bit different a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, God willing. But I love it too much. And I've said this before, and I'll certainly say it again, but skating, inline skating, rollerblading, aggressive skating, freestyle rolling, whatever you want to call it, it's not who I am, it's what I do. And I know that's a sticking point for a lot of people who feel that inline skating is such a cumulative part of their existence, of their life, that it is a defining factor of their identity. And I get that, I totally understand that, but this isn't the total of who I am, but it's a really important part of what I do, and I absolutely love it. You guys will have to let me know how you handle the fear that comes along with skating, if there's any major fears that you have, if there's a certain trick that brings you fear, or if you're like me and it's more of an existential fear on getting old and just not being able to attain that same level of capacity you once held for tricks, for stamina, for recovery. Those are all important things when it comes to this sport. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my ramble. I'm gonna get some more tricks in here as long as I'm out, because I'm old. I got to enjoy this as long as I can, and that's exactly what I intend on doing. Anyway, I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, reminding you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see y'all with the next one. Peace, everybody.